A warm and a healthy greetings to all. Sorry for bothering you all. We shall have a brief summation of flame photometry or atomic emission spectroscopy. Initially, an atomized metal is introduced into the flame. As you people already know, that based on the flame color the presence of salt solution and the appropriate metal is determined. So the flame photometry tells us that each individual metal wavelength color represents what the element is, and each intensity of the color represents how much element is present. The principle of this flame photometry is all about, when a metallic salt solution is introduced into a flame, the following process occurs. Initially, the solvent gets evaporated, leaving the solid salt particle. Second, is vaporized into gaseous state and dissociated into atoms. Finally, some of the atoms from the ground state are excited to higher energy state by absorbing thermal energy from the flame. These excited atoms, which are unstable, quickly emit photons of different wavelengths and return to the lower energy state. Then the emitted radiation is passed through the filter, it is then passed into the detector, and finally into the recorder. The various components of the flame photometer are described as follows. First, burner. The flame must possess the following characteristics. I. It should evaporate the solvent from the sample solution. 2. It should decompose the solid into atoms. 3. It should excite the atoms and cause them to emit radiant energy. Next, mirror. The radiation from the flame is emitted in all directions in space. In order to increase the amount of radiation reaching the detector, a convex mirror is used, which is set behind the burner. Then, there are two types of slits, namely entrance slit and exit slit. Entrance slits is kept between the flame and monochromator and permits only the radiation coming from the flame and mirror. Exit slit is kept between the monochromator and detector and prevents the entry of interfering lines. Next, it is either monochromator or prism or grating or filter. It allows the light of the required wavelength to pass through, but absorbs the light of other wavelengths. Detector. The radiation coming out from the filter is allowed to fall on the detector, which measures the intensity of the radiation falling on it. Finally, amplifier and recorder. The current coming out from the detector is weak, so it is amplified and recorded. Now let's see the working of the flame photometer. Here's the experiment. Air, at a given pressure, is passed into an atomizer. The suction so produced draws some solution of the sample into the atomizer. 2. Air and sample solution is then mixed with fuel gas in the mixing chamber. The air and sample solution and fuel gas mixture is then burnt in the burner. 3. The radiation, emitted by burner flame, is passed successively through the lens, filter, detector, amplifier, and finally into a recorder. The above experiment is first carried out using the graph, called calibration curve, is drawn between concentration vs intensity of emitted light, or photometric reading. Now the test solution, unknown, is taken and similar experiment is carried out. From the graph the concentration of the unknown sample can be determined. For instance, a sodium metal ion is estimated using flame photometry. A series of standard NaCl solution, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 ppm, is prepared and is sent one by one, and the readings, intensity of emitted light, are thank you for trying verbose. The calibration graph is drawn between the concentration vs intensity of the emitted light. A straight line is obtained. This is the working principle of flame photometry. Now comes the last session, that is, this flame photometry is used for many purposes in our daily applications, such as it can be applied for both qualitative and quantitative analysis. Radiation emitted are characteristic to specific metal, hence used to identify specific metal. To determine the presence of various alkali metals in soil sample. Then soil can be supplied with specific fertilizer. Concentration of sodium and potassium in human body for performing various metabolic function. It's determined by diluting blood serum sample into flame. Soft drinks, fruit juices, and alcoholic beverages analyzed using flame photometer to determine concentration of various metals. In the production of pre-milk, pre-food, milk powder, the quality can be controlled and monitored using flame photometer. Checking of ultra-pure water. Review of sodium and potassium content in cement industries. I hope everyone understood the concept of flame photometry and their working principle. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask me. Thank you, all for spending some time for this session. Be safe and stay healthy.